She made her way through the turbine hall, surrounded by an ever-changing ring of friends, admirers, and animals, nebula to her attractive focus, talking to her guests, giving instructions to her staff, making suggestions, and offering compliments to the many and various entertainers. Music filled the echoing space above the ancient gleaming machines, sitting silently amongst the chattering throng of gaily dressed partygoers. She bowed graciously and smiled to a passing admiral, and twirled a delicate black flower in her hand, putting the bloom to her nose to draw in its heady fragrance. Two of the heralds at her feet leapt up, yelping, forepaws attempting to find purchase on the smooth lap of her formal gown, their glistening snouts raised to the flower. She bent, tapping both animals gently on the nose with the bloom, making them bounce down to the floor again, sneezing and shaking their heads. The people around her laughed. Stooping, gown belling, she rubbed her hands through the pelt of one of the animals, shaking its big ears, then raised her head to the major domo as he approached, deferentially threading his way through the crowd around her. "Yes, Mackerel?" she said. "The System Times photographer," the major domo said quietly. He straightened as she rose, until he was looking up at her, his chin level with her bare shoulders. "Admitting defeat?" she grinned. "I believe so, ma'am. Requesting an audience." She laughed. "So well put. How many did we get this time?" The major domo sidled a little closer, looking nervously at one of the heralds when it snarled at him. 32 moving picture cameras, ma'am, over 100 still." She brought her mouth conspiratorially close to the major domo's ear and said, "Not counting the ones we found on our guests." "Quite, ma'am." "I'll see him? Her?" "Him, ma'am." "Him later. Tell him 10 minutes. Remind me in 20. West Atrium." She glanced at the single platinum bracelet she wore. Recognizing her retinue, a tiny projector disguised as an emerald briefly displayed a hollow plan of the old power station in twin cones of light aimed straight at her eyes. "Certainly, ma'am," Mackerel said. She touched his arm and whispered, "We're heading over to the Arboretum, all right?" The major domo's head barely moved to indicate he had heard. She turned regretfully to the people around her, her hands clasped as though in pleading. "I'm sorry. Will you all excuse me just a moment?" She put her head to one side, smiling. "Hi. Hello. Hi there. How are you?" They walked quickly through the party, past the grey rainbows of drug streams and the plashing pools of the wine fountains. She led, skirts rustling, while the major domo struggled to keep up with her long-legged gait. She waved to those who greeted her, government ministers and their shadows, foreign dignitaries and attachés, media stars of all persuasions, revolutionaries and navy brass, the captains of industry and commerce and their more extravagantly wealthy shareholders. The heralds snapped perfunctorily at the heels of the major domo, their claws skittering on the polished mica floor, all ungainly, then bounding forward when they encountered one of the many priceless rugs scattered throughout the turbine hall. At the steps to the Arboretum, hidden from the main hall by the easternmost dynamo housing, she paused, thanked the major domo, shooed the heralds away, patted her perfect hair, smoothed her already immaculately smooth gown, and checked that the single white stone on the black choker was centered, which it was. She started down the steps towards the tall doors of the Arboretum. One of the heralds whined from the top of the steps, bouncing up and down on its forelegs, eyes watering. She looked back, annoyed. "Quiet, bouncer. Away." The animal lowered its head and snuffled off. She closed the double doors quietly behind her, taking in the quiet extent of luxuriant foliage the Arboretum presented. Outside the high crystal curve of the partial dome, the night was black. Small, sharp lights burned on tall masts inside the Arboretum, casting deep, jagged shadows amongst the crowded plants. The air was warm and smelled of earth and sap. She breathed deeply and walked towards the far side of the enclosure. "Hello there." The man turned quickly, to find her standing behind him, leaning against a light mast, her arms crossed, a small smile on her lips and in her eyes. Her hair was blue-black, like her eyes. Her skin was fawn, and she looked slimmer than she did on newscasts, when, for all her height, she could seem stocky.